Folks, please turn off your cell phones if you haven't done that yet. Yeah. Yeah.
I stopped to renew my license on one of my vehicles.
Yeah.
19 people I thought.
Everybody ready? Yes, sir. Meeting is called to order. Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can I get an approval of agenda? And is everybody's microphone turned on?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Gardner?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Any corrections to the minutes from last month? Let's see. Okay. Seems like I actually have one item. Alicia, I think on the minutes, at the beginning of new business from last month, it referenced a different application than the one we actually received. Okay. Later on, it was correct later on down the file. Okay. Other than that, I have nothing. I'm open to a motion.
Move to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second.
Larry?
Yes.
Oh,
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Any unfinished business?
I'm sorry?
Any unfinished business besides your lack of fishing? It didn't say unfishing business.
I tried.
All right, okay, all right. Welcome back, Gardner. All right, new business, request, minor subdivision, 21006 Wellsville Springs minor subdivision. Mr. Cook, is that you? Come on up, please. Please turn on your microphone there. Should be a, there you go. Okay, tell us about your project.
It's just, the total acreage is 13.26. The minor subdivision application would be to separate into a 8.72 acre parcel and a 4.54 acre parcel as indicated on the screen there.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us? Okay.
It's just been a pleasure to work with the planning department on this project because it wasn't nearly as burdensome as I originally had envisioned.
Good, glad to hear that. They're working shorthanded and they're working long hours.
I understand that.
So they need to be commended. Alicia, do you have anything on this for us?
Yeah, so for the staff report, the department has reviewed the application and found it to be a complete and true representation of the request as stated herein. The department finds that all minimal requirements per the Fremont County subdivision regulations will be satisfied by this application. There was last minute a minor change on the site plan, and that is to encompass the well on lot 2. So that is one of the changes that we were needing to make on the site plan. So we have 3 contingencies items. The first one is not any longer because they did change the well on proposed lot 2. So they were going to be required to drill a well on lot 1. So with them changing that lot line, they will have a well on lot 2. So they do have a permit from the Colorado Division of Water Resources to drill that second one on lot 2 or lot 1. The property currently has an SRU on it. So if he gets approved on this minor subdivision, he would either be required to do a major modification on that SRU or rescind the SRU as it is. So I've spoken with Mr. Cook, and he expressed that if he gets approval, he'll rescind that SRU.
Okay. All right, thank you. Planning Commission.
Did you get a new flood map?
The 100-year floodplain engineering is being conducted by Crabtree Group in Salida. It should be completed by the end of this month.
And there is not one on it now?
I'm sorry?
There's not a flood map on it
Well,
now
there
of any
is.
kind?
We did the floodplain, and we also have a FEMA letter of map amendment for the structure that's on site right now. The 100-year will apply to the entire 13.26 acres, so we have that defining line for the entire property.
I have some questions on the latest letter from the Colorado Division of Water Resources. And hopefully you can shed some light on this. So there's one existing well, and I see you encompassed it into Lot 1,
Correct.
and it services the existing building.
That's correct.
Okay. For Lot 2, I'm going to assume that was permit number 84F69, something like that?
Yeah, dash F, yeah.
Okay. So has that been drilled?
No.
Okay, now, did you file for an extension?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so do you have that paperwork that you have an extension?
I have it, yeah. I can forward it to Alicia at the close
Okay,
of
that would be helpful.
the day.
That was part of her letter.
Yep.
And where is that going to be drilled?
It
On
just
Lot 2?
depends, there are multiple building sites, so on the 4.54 acres. So the building site will determine where the lot is, where the well is drilled.
Okay. And that will presumably be done in the next year with your one-year extension?
Either that, or there'll be another application for a well permit.
Okay.
Do you know how deep your current well is?
110 feet,
Is it, okay. And what that number I heard for drilling a well up there?
$50 a linear foot.
$50 a foot, okay, well, that's,
Part of that was the reasoning for encompassing the well.
good
Just-
plan.
I had American Drilling, Bo Dewberry, who's the owner, come over, and due to the location of the septic field, it eliminated a well in that general area where the existing well is. And so even though, as he said, any well is a roll of the dice, it definitely would have been that, because we would have had to put it on a different part relative to the current structure. So he told me stories of $35,000 drilling bills, and so that was motivation to just adjust the line.
Your plan down the road is to sell this lot to another? Just have it?
Just at this juncture, it's subdivision for optionality.
Well, the geology on there is pretty scary, isn't it?
What's that?
The geology looks to be pretty scary in that area, isn't it? With all the travertine.
There are 3 warm springs that originate on the property within 50 feet of the river and just go directly towards the river. There would be some additional, obviously the drainage being a contingency. There's one deep gully, and then anything, the warm springs themselves would kind of deter construction nearby. I think the soils recommended at least 20 to 30 feet from any of those warm springs.
I have a question on access. You currently come off of County Road 45, and that comes onto the parcel, but the 8.15 acres, how does that access how's that gonna work?
The actual driveway, the easement through the UP will be widened. So even though, or it's called a private right-of-way, it will be widened. So even though there is an easement for the 4.54, it will basically split the driveway in half. And so in theory, there's a 30-foot easement upon entering the property that the smaller part, that lot 2 is required at the entranceway.
Okay, and is that 30 foot on, okay, is that 30 foot on the property?
Yes.
It's within the limits of the property, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Question on the fire protection. At one place, it said that there was a $6,000 fee in lieu of a cistern.
Right.
And then another, I think down for the South Arkansas Fire District, they were talking about $1 a gallon, but I didn't see what that was referring to.
Right. Chief Bess was just providing, I think, general guidelines for that area. And I'm not, I don't have the knowledge of whether they are applying that fee to any new construction, because essentially, I guess that would be levied upon the construction of additional residence on Lot 2.
Okay. You have fire protection now?
But there is no cistern on lot, there was none required
They
at
just
the
pull
time
out-
of construction in 2013 of the existing residence.
They just pull water out of the river?
That was, yeah, that's what he said they would do, yeah.
Okay. Does the UP run many trains on that track?
Not since 97, and
That's
hopefully
what I
never again.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And the department is in receipt of the minor revisions to the map,
Yes,
to the site plan?
yes,
Thank you. So that's no longer a condition?
no. And I did forget to mention that the county engineer agrees with the deferral of the drainage plan until they know where they're going to build.
Larry, you have anything?
No, I don't have any questions.
Guys, anything?
I'm good.
My questions have all been answered. How warm are those hot springs, or warm springs?
83 degrees,
Okay.
which is also the temperature of my well water.
What, it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, it's all 83 degrees there.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right, I'm open for a motion if there's nothing else to ask. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve request MS 21-006 Wellsville Springs minor subdivision with the contingency item of a major, that the applicant will rescind the SRU once minor subdivision is approved, and that the DWR extension letter is received by the division.
Sounds good. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Gardner?
Aye.
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 Aye. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right. Let's see. Alicia, did you get the email I sent about the additional issues with the application, or the tablet?
No.
I guess I sent it to Teresa, so. so maybe that's-
That explains why. I
Okay,
didn't
all
get
right,
it, yeah.
okay, all right, I guess I should have
Sorry.
included you on that, sorry. I had
Okay.
several issues. At first, we got those resolved with that application, and then with the Pikes Peak Motors one, for several days, it wouldn't load past page 18. But it may just be my spotty internet. Did anybody else have those issues? That's
Yeah, I
probably
had
just-
trouble early
Oh,
on.
you, okay.
I was reading it before I left.
All the good stuff's on page,
Yeah, okay, good.
Boilerplate.
Can you recite those for me, Matt? Okay, all right, okay. All right, request zone change, 21002 Pikes Peak Motors. Come on up, Matt.
Good afternoon. We are requesting a zone change and a modification
This is for Pikes Peak Motor Company located in Penrose. What we're requesting is to modify the existing salvage yard, adding approximately 14 acres to the north side of it and removing the 6.5 acres on the west side of it that was originally approved as part of the SRU, I believe. Nothing else will change. This area is just going to be used for storage. There's no buildings or structures proposed in that area. We did get the county engineer's approval. He just wanted us to move the swale that now encompasses along the north line and move that to the proposed north line on the outside, and then extend it up the west side as well, so the drainage will still be caught and taken around to the detention pond down at the southeast corner. Carrie McCool, who did the review on this, she had 3 contingencies, and the very first one, prior to consideration of the Board of County Commissioners, the square footage of the calculations of the building should be corrected. I just received an email right before I came up that states she had an extra 0 in there that the building square footage is fine. So that one's not an issue any longer. We did get the weed management plan. It's basically somewhat of a cookie cutter scenario for the weeds in that area. And so we will sign that and turn that in so the management can be taken care of. As far as the landscaping plan, we did ask for a waiver of the plan. The areas that aren't being impacted will be left natural, so there's no need really for a plan. We show where the parking areas are and everything, and those areas will be removed of vegetation. Everything else will remain natural. So we are requesting a waiver of that landscaping plan. Other than that, if you have any questions.
I'll let Alicia give the staff report first, then we'll get back to you. Go ahead, Alicia.
Having found the application is in compliance with the regulatory requirements, staff recommends approval of the rezoning application and commercial development plan modification with the following contingencies, and Matt kind of touched base on where we're at with Carrie McCool on the contingencies. I did not see that email come through, so
honestly, 2
Okay.
seconds before I came up.
So we can add that, change the contingency to add that on the site plan, if you're okay with that, Matt, and then that'll be moving forward onto the Board of County Commissioner meeting.
Yep.
And then the noxious weed, they did send their control measures over to us in between this staff report and today. So we do have that, and if we just get a signed copy of the plan from the applicant, we're good there. And then Carrie McCool has on here just to depict natural landscape and vegetation areas surrounding the parking areas on the commercial development plan, and add a note that the area shall be attractively maintained and kept clean of debris, rubbish, and inoperable vehicles. Not inappropriate.
So we can knock off the contingency about the noxious weed control
Yes,
and the square footage.
yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, questions for Matt or for Alicia?
Basically own 35 acres back there.
They own all the land surrounding this, several hundred acres. 240. So,
Gardner, turn on your mic again. They keep knocking off. Okay.
and we did turn in, I hope you guys have a copy of the site development. I don't know if you have that to show as well.
Yes.
I saw in the inspection checklist that there had been some past violations. What were those about?
I'm not sure.
I believe they're old. I would have to pull, they're old.
Okay.
I have confirmation.
They've been resolved?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Commissioners?
One of the questions I have, you're going to continue the perimeter wall, the same wall that you have now?
Correct, it'll look just the same. Yes, it will look just the same.
Okay.
It said in here that you were going to relocate the wall. That language is
Just-
really strange.
Just the north line, basically they'll remove that north line of it, the existing, and move that north to the proposed new boundary, and then they'll put new along the sides.
Okay.
It's a movable wall, or are you going to
Well,
push it over?
anything's movable.
One way or another.
It's
You haven't met my wife.
that's so basically they'll remove those, they'll pull those out and then move them.
Thank you.
And so the 6 acres to the west that was previously approved as part of this application. I remember it,
Yes.
but I don't remember the details.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so we're removing that from the application.
Right. That was never utilized. It's just stayed natural.
All right,
So.
okay. All right. Let's see. I have noticed out there that there are some vehicles right now that are outside the screen wall barrier. And is that some form of violation, or what's going on there?
So basically, when they get a delivery, they park them out there so they can inventory them, and then they move them inside. It's kind of we show it on the parking area as the receiving and prep area. And that's not the latest map either. We did file a different map. So hopefully you guys did receive that. It was some of the corrections that Carrie McCool had. And so basically, they position them there, they work through them, inventory the parts and what have you, and then move them inside. So that's kind of that area, that prep area. So they don't stay there very long.
There's no way to get those inside there while they're waiting to be worked on?
Well, actually, that, as part of this proposed expansion, that will allow us to do that. We need additional room. This additional room will get us to a point that the vehicles will never need to be outside the fenced area.
Good, okay. All right.
Because actually, going by there, there's quite a few cars that are outside and all of a sudden they disappear. I mean, and more than just 2 or 3, I'm talking probably 50 or 100 of them over on the east side. So what you're doing then with those vehicles, taking them inside and...
Yep, absolutely. Identify yourself, please.
Good afternoon, I'm Richard Murr. What we're currently doing is we are crushing and scrapping some vehicles in order to make room because we are to capacity. In the process of making that room, we have brought in a road grader, we're regrading our lot, we're graveling it, cleaning up that area, and then getting it ready for vehicles. So yes, over the weekend, all the vehicles disappeared. They're now inside. We're in the process of crushing another 200 cars. And then that will give us, allow us to operate within the confines of our fence until this approval and our expansion.
I had noticed originally, years ago, when we first actually approved this, you weren't selling cars out in front. And then I saw, after a period of time, you were selling cars out there, and then you stopped selling them?
Well, that's, that was kind of a misunderstanding. We've always been a car dealer. I mean, we are Pikes Peak Motor Company. And so we were unaware that there was any stipulations that we could only sell vehicles within the confines of our showroom. We never realized that we could not display vehicles for sale. Now, we did for a while partner with Lone Eagle Motor Company. That's probably when you saw a lot of vehicles out there. We have separated ourselves from that partnership, but we certainly want the ability to sell vehicles if we want to. That is not our primary business. Our moneymaker is the salvage yard. But we certainly want the latitude of being able to display and sell vehicles if we choose to do that. So as part of this request, and that was one of the violations that one of you had mentioned, is that we received a violation for having vehicles out there for sale. We were unaware that that was a violation. Currently, there are no cars out there. If we get the approval, we'd like the ability to display those cars, but that still won't be our focus.
I was curious. Thank you.
You bet.
I have a quick question for you, actually. So the vehicles for sale will be they'll be scrapped vehicles or
Oh, no.
operational new?
Yeah, typical
Okay.
used car lot.
Okay, so it won't be a vehicle that you're just selling the entire thing to somebody, but it's scrap?
Never do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we never do that. We don't fix wrecks. We don't do repairables. Occasionally, we get a vehicle that is good enough to resell as a car. And so we resell those vehicles. The vehicles that are inside, if you've never been in our facility, please stop by and see us. Our showroom is devoted to classic cars, restorations, street rods, that kind of thing. We've got a 68 Roadrunner in there right now, a 62 Galaxy convertible, that kind of thing. And that's primarily what we sell, but we don't want to be confined to that. We want the ability to sell cars if we choose to do so.
Okay.
But we will never sell wrecks. We don't do that.
Okay.
I have a kind of a follow-up question. The people bring cars to you?
Well, they come from multiple different sources, so, but yes, theoretically, yes.
So if somebody has a bunch of junk cars in their yard, they could bring them to you, right? You wouldn't go get them, they'd have to bring them to you?
No, we actually don't own a tow truck. We hire DNR Towing out of Penrose, does all of our towing for us. And so, yes, we do pick up a lot of the vehicles. Our vehicles come from multiple sources, unwanted cars. And something I want to be clear about is we never take a car that does not have a title. They have to have clear ownership of it. Right. They come from all different sources, abandoned vehicles on property. You took your vehicle to Austin Automotive and the repairs were too expensive, so Austin's refers them to us. We purchase the car. We purchase wrecks from tow companies. We also work with a foundation called Clear the Air, which I won't go into the whole story about that, but they pattern themselves after Cash for Clunkers. And these vehicles are donated, they're a nonprofit. We buy those vehicles with the condition that they can never be on the road again. So, kind of in a nutshell where our cars come from.
That's helpful, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
John, you have anything?
No, sir.
Larry? Okay.
When you do get to the point that you're gonna be selling vehicles out in front, is this during the day at certain hours that you're gonna have the lot open?
Well, it'd just be our normal business hours, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 9 to 2 on Saturdays.
So you don't have to have any lighting?
No,
So
no,
you don't
not
have to get
currently.
involved with that, okay.
We haven't received any comments on this still, Alicia?
From,
From the public, I mean?
nope,
Okay, all right.
nope.
Anybody else have anything? I'm open to a motion.
Make a motion we approve request CZ 21-002 with
So the only contingency we would have, well, I don't think there is any now. Let's see.
Just the notation about keeping the area free of debris and rubbish and wrecked vehicles.
Yes, number 3.
Turn your mic on again, Gardner. I know, I don't know why they do
All right.
that.
Yes, that's the motion on the table.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Larry?
Aye.
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 Okay, good luck with your project.
Mr. Chair, the reason these turn red is to keep certain commissioners from falling asleep during the meeting.
Well, I do have the option of turning yours off if I choose to. So. I could play with you if I wanted to, but okay. All right, okay. Anybody else have anything? What are we looking at for next month, Alicia?
Several things. We're super busy, so we're working with the consultant as we get things back. So we've got a bunch of applications in front of us.
Okay.
So probably for sure a couple minor subs. As far as other things, I don't know what's going to go forward.
Okay.
So
All right. Okay. Mike, is that your name? Micah. Would you like to
Micah?
come up and introduce yourself? Sure. Just In fact, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting, okay, here, all right. Meeting is adjourned, you don't have to tape